It's not often that a show or something wows me like nothing else. That may sound a bit cynical and tunnel vision for some, but there hasn't been much to exactly surprise me. I stay in my comfort zone like how everyone else does, but I do like experimenting outside my zone to see what other people like, to see what other people dislike. And even if I don't share the sentiment, I'm always down to open my world. There's a lot of differences in the media that we watch and enjoy, and the best part is when they thrive in those differences, to become something unique and special that isn't like the rest. I always try to go in with no expectations for whenever I watch something, keep a low profile, because I could be in for greatness, or straight up mid. So it's a very nice surprise to put MyGo/Ave Mujica from the Bang Dream series up on the podium of one of the best shows I've watched. Now, you can interpret that in two ways. One, this show is one of the best shows ever made, or two, I have low standards and don't know what an actual good show is. The decision is yours. MyGo/Ave Mujica is a show I've heard a lot of stuff about, but never watched it because I don't really vibe with the Bandori Bang Dream series. Nothing about it really enticed me, and if you take one look at my channel, I'm more of a Love Life fan, so go figure. This isn't me saying I hate the series or anything, it's just nothing immediately caught my eye and told me I need to jump into this series. And with that being said, I'm going in with no knowledge. If I forget something or don't provide context, it's because I don't know, so feel free to correct me in the comments after this video. A while ago, I asked for recommendations on shows I should watch. And while I got a lot of good suggestions that I'll talk about later, MyGo/Ave Mujica was one that got brought up often, and I was like, screw it bro, I need some new life in me. I had no idea who these characters were, I didn't know a single song, I only knew one plot point, you know the exact plot point, but I was curious. And my curiosity was satiated. It's been a while since I watched a really good character drama show. Something about this show was so refreshing to me in a lot of ways. The way the characters interact, the way the plot is structured, how the threads are introduced, and how much heart the series has. And I want to start there. Sorry if I say things that people already say about the series, it's my first time living, my apologies, but I think the one thing that always got me when watching was the tone, or how good it is at changing the tone consistently. Tone is a very hard thing to shift. I often talk about how hard it is to do so without precautions set in place. If you fail to do that, the transition can be odd. This show manages to do it very well at the start. MyGo has this sense of wonder that lingers throughout the show. I've been using the term wonder for a very specific reason that correlates to love life, but it's the feeling of being something more. In this series, all of the characters want something, and the way these characters achieve that status isn't always for the best intentions. Sometimes it's selfish, for their own gain, and I love how human it feels. The show feels like it puts on rose-tinted glasses that occasionally get loosened, showing just how severe these characters are in terms of what they want. And I love how eventually, the glasses get fully dropped, showing who these characters really are. These characters have flaws, and many of these flaws do not get painted in the best light for obvious reasons. Matter of fact, they come up as secondhand embarrassment because of how personal they show it, and as someone who has experienced some of these, I had to stamp and walk in circles for a bit. On the surface, the series seems so lighthearted, and I won't even deny that. The color palettes, the music, even the intro, it gives this idea of a coming-of-age story where the characters get to become who they want to be. And do they? Well, not exactly in the way they wanted, but maybe that's for the better. I love how it doesn't trick you in any way, it's just more details. More stuff that the characters have going on in their lives that make it so when they do get together, when they do become something more, it feels way more satisfying. A lot of good time is spent on the characters' individual motivations and how often they do not mix well. It feels grounded, it feels human, and you can understand why they act this way. I won't deny that sometimes feels exaggerated, especially with certain piano pieces making it feel purposeful, but it isn't something where you could be like, oh, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? It makes it feel like a theatrical opera at some points, which I know is purposeful as the series goes on. Characters like Tamori really push this sense of wonder and often act as an anchor for the other characters to see that they can be something more. I love Tamori for the record, this video is mainly about the tone of the series, but the characters are the core part in maintaining this tone. It's because these characters are people who want to be more that the whole series has this tone, and eventually they're able to unite together. They may still have conflicts due to their personal interests, but it isn't enough to break them apart. The best part about the series is seeing them bond, seeing them be able to trust and open up a little in the smallest of ways. It feels positive, a good message to anyone who may be going through something similar. It's always nice when things take a happy turn, and the way we visualize it in our head may not always be what we actually need. You can compare it to a relationship, and how you may think having them again will magically fix things, when really the answer was something else entirely. I love that about MyGo. It showed that there's always a way, and while that message can be shared for any series, the fact that MyGo wasn't afraid to show certain emotions and flaws that halted our characters makes it more impactful. When a character keeps falling and falling, having her climb to the top makes it feel more satisfying. And what also makes it more impactful is the fact there is a world outside of MyGo. Not every character is having the same arc as those in the group. Some have already had their arcs, while some are destined for a different fate. And throughout MyGo, we actually get to see the seeds planted for this different kind of arc. one that might as well be the reverse. Now, Ave Mujica is a show that I cannot encapsulate in one video. Matter of fact, I want to talk about more in a different video. It's been very hard writing this script. I've had so much to say, the script was a clusterfuck, so I had to settle for just talk about its tone shift, so this is the best I have right now. Ave Mujica is one of the best shows I've watched. It's amazing visually, it's amazing in terms of plot, and it's amazing in what they're trying to do. Everything that Ave Mujica does is a perfect contrast to MyGo in terms of tone. I love how smooth it is. MyGo ends in this amazing cliffhanger where Sakiko sets up her new group, performs, does awesome, and we get the answer as to why she potentially disbanded her old group back at the start of the series. Not to say this scene is groundbreaking in any way, but it just showed more of the world of the series. That for some people, the direction they were heading wasn't going to be the same as others. Watching Ave Mujica is an experience that requires MyGo as a control group in a sense, because it's a sequel series, but I think it needs to be reinforced. This series is fucking miserable. If you thought MyGo had scenes of people being miserable, this series does not hold back. These characters have issues, borderline to the point they are not stable in any way, and the way the show treats this is interesting. Obviously, it's not made fun of or glorified if you're thinking that. It's taken at face value. What I'm getting at is that the show does not attempt to resolve it in a way. If MyGo was the source of bonding and trusting each other to become something more, Ave Mujica is the result of everyone clinging onto it because it's the only thing they have. There's a point where the group disbands, but then one of them is like, bro, I need this, and gets the band back together, and no matter how nonchalantly it's displayed as, I know what you are. These characters are flawed, and they continue to be flawed. There is borderline no light for these guys, and that's why I say it's slightly miserable. And you could already see traces of it in MyGo beforehand. There's a whole subplot of Saki forming her band, and the way she convinces her members to join the group is very different. It isn't like how MyGo did it, with the natural way of doing things. It's very coworker vibes, if I could describe it as anything. These guys do not seem close in the slightest, and matter of fact, in some scenes, it really feels like there isn't a level of respect or care for certain people. Mutsumi is the one that comes to mind. Obviously, everything isn't black and white, and there's a reason for characters acting the way they did, but I felt so much for her and the cards she was dealt with. And sometimes it felt like other characters were pushing her more and more down the wrong direction. But that tone was already set from the start when Saki starts scouting these people, so you can't be too surprised when conflicts start rising and the dirty side of these characters start showing. And that's before Ave Mujica officially starts, by the way. That kind of tone was already established, we just got to see the good side of it. The outcome where things get better. This is not better, and I don't think it was gonna get better in the first place. It's not a reach at all to say a lot of these characters have some sort of mental illness, and understanding that helps make the series tone way more realistic and how things get settled. It isn't given a satisfactory end or result. A lot of things are very show don't tell, and as someone who loves that kind of writing, this series was perfect. The way characters look at each other, the way Saki behaves in response to whatever bullshit pops up in her life out of nowhere. There's so many different interpretations you can have. It's one of the best things about it being animated in CGI. Animating small facial expressions is a lot easier, and it provides a whole nother sense of life to the characters. Combine that with the theatrical aesthetic, and it creates this weaving thread of a clusterfuck where it seems like there's no way of getting out and you don't know who to believe. Even if things seemingly get better, there's always a chance you'll fall back down. Seeing some of the MyGo members go backwards in master quotes there just showed how human a lot of them are. You're not gonna get over everything in your life, and while MyGo the show showed the positive side of it, being in the Ave Mujica side now just shows a darker possibility. The scene where they reunite their old group and play their iconic song is probably the best example of these characters being human and letting their flaws win. It is probably one of the most beautiful scenes in the series and a way for everyone to move on once and for all. It's a form of closure, and as someone who's gone for a similar thing and got the chance to revisit an old memory just to experience it again, even though things aren't the same anymore, it's absolutely beautiful, and I love the feeling of knowing it's just the last time. And I absolutely love the fact that the scene caused a downfall for certain characters, with some misinterpreting it or feeling even more that they can't move on. This was something also shown in MyGo, but that was a past event, and something I also want to praise as well. Almost every one of these characters is tied to an event that happens at the start of the series, and it's like the one scene that lingers on everyone's mind. They can't move on from it. And multiple times in the show, it's referenced, and we even get different POVs of how people reacted to it, just to show the exact impact it had on them, and the new context reframes how we see it. It helps us understand why these characters are the way they are, but here, we get to see the character become the way they are, and it's just beautiful in how it's executed. So much conflict that prey on people's vulnerable aspects. It's done so well that everyone has their own story to tell. I say things get resolved in certain scenes, but the truth is not everyone is satisfied. It's not exactly left in the most resolved state, almost like a limbo state, and I like that. I swear I'm not the type of person who's like, I like dark and mature stuff with people being miserable and having their life fucking suck. I just like when a series manages to showcase realistic issues and how far it can spread both positively and negatively. I'm not gonna pretend the series is absolutely perfect. It has some issues that I'll probably talk about at some point, but in terms of tone, Man, this series is perfect at it. It never manages to lose itself that I feel like I'm watching a different show. Even the out there scenes have something you can latch onto, something that helps make it make sense. The one thing I'll say if you watch the show is don't have any expectations. Either be thinking it'll be a girl band show or some shit like that, just watch it, man, and see what they're trying to do. It may not be your cup of tea, but it sure was mine. I apologize for rambling about this, and I also apologize if I got some scenes wrong, or, don't know about this one thing that's elaborated on the mobile game or something like that. Again, I have not touched a single second of Bandori. I binged the anime on my totally legal anime website, had my eyes open, and was like, this shit's pretty good, and then wrote this video. As for my thoughts, well, you just watched it. This is one of the few times I'm actually uploading a video on a topic I have no fucking idea is about, so I'm not even sure what the reception is going to be. For a Love Life video, I can gauge it at best, but here I'm actually being very vulnerable right now, and honestly, I don't really give a shit about how the reception goes, but I just really hope I didn't really do a sudden bad take. Anyways, if you liked it, feel free to subscribe and follow my Twitter and Twitch. I talked more about Ave Mujica on there. It was really stupid. I got to see like a Tamari penguin. It's really cute. I really want to get that plushie now.